Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with the court habit. Bye. Let's get to the intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking, and I appreciate your support, man. I'm very humbled. So yesterday, Haros, right? Rebecca Lumpy Butt Haro went to court. She made another court appearance, and it was a brief one, but there was a lot of information. If you read between the lines, if you read in the meantime and in between time, you'll notice that there was a lot of information given. I got a lot of information for you, so let's get to it. So yesterday, Rebecca went for her felony conference hearing, the same hearing that her and Jake had when Jake decided to spill his guts. Well, not necessarily spill his guts, but spill his guilty plea out there for the judge to throw himself at the mercy of the court, right? And Rebecca, the district attorney, her defense lawyer, and even the judge and everybody else was shocked. We were all shocked because we did not expect Jake to do that. But somewhere along the lines, he had decided, or he realized that, you know what, hey, it was the best thing for him to do. Maybe his conscience is eating at him. Maybe he just figured, man, if they find any more evidence against him, it could get worse. But 25 to life is pretty bad. Now, he hasn't been sentenced yet. That will come on November 3rd. He will, which is just a few days away. Okay. He will be going to court, and he will be going. And now here's the good thing about this before we get to the Rebecca bullshit, right? The good thing about this is that he will have an opportunity to speak, and there will be victim impact witness statements. Now, the victim in this case, of course, is baby Manuel, and he can't speak for himself. That's why there's people like myself, Ahmed, several others, man, that are doing even way more than I've ever done, right? That are really out there searching. They're really out there doing. And I'm going to put an apology out there right now in a minute, man, because I think some people misconstrued my words, but we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, so they're going to do victim impact statements. And I think it's going to be people that are in the community or people that were affected by this case or people that were out there searching. And then again, he'll have his opportunity to say whatever he's going to say. Now, we're hoping that he tells us where baby Emmanuel was put. We're hoping that he admits everything that he did. But to be totally honest with you, I don't think he has it in him to do that. He's a fucking monster. He's an abusive person. He's a narcissist and an asshole. And I believe the only reason he took this deal and those crocodile tears that were being shed for his own situation and dilemma, right? I don't think he has it in him to let us know. But I believe we will eventually over time. If Rebecca decides to take it to the box, go all the way in trial, we'll find out. So yesterday, Rebecca shows up to court. Jake is already signed, sealed, and delivered. He's yours. We'll find out what happens to him November 3rd. But Rebecca asked for a continuance. Her lawyer, her defense attorney, and this happens in court cases. You know, I know Wes Watson, the celebrity YouTuber, prison genre YouTuber, workout guru, whatever he is, right? I know he was supposed to be going to court sometime this week, and they pushed it. They pushed it to sometime after December. So, you know, this is what happens with court, man. If you have a defense attorney, they're going to keep pushing this case out as long as they can so that they could build their case, right? And some of the times you'll get a case pushed out just because they're going on vacation or they didn't have a chance to read a summary or read some of the discovery or whatever it is, and they'll find any excuse to push it out. Now, does that help the defense or the prosecution? It definitely helps the defense. It helps them get all their ducks in a row, right? In this case, because he's defending such a monster like Rebecca, we don't want anything to assist or help her, but the law is the law. And you know what? You got to go by the rule of law. It's just how it is, right? You got to make sure that law does their job the right way, because if they do it the wrong way, then she has action at appeal if convicted, right? So you got to make sure also that the prosecution's ducks are in a row, that their I's are dotted, their T's are crossed and everything. I'm just giving you guys the game straight up. It's the way it is. Now, Rebecca sat her big butt ass down in that chair, right? And she looked vibrant. She looked like she was in good spirits. She looked like she was happy. She looked like definitely Jake taking the guilty plea basically took a lot of pressure off her, because now she doesn't feel, I guess, like she has to cover for Jake anymore. He already admitted guilt. I think that was part of his plan. So she feels in her defense, that if you already have someone that's admitted guilt and she's still denying it, she's going to play that fucking abusive card. I'm telling you, she's going to play that role that she didn't know what happened and she was only doing what this fucking devil told her to do. Straight up. But they decided to continue this to January 21st. So what does that mean? That means on January 21st, she will be going back for another felony conference. And at that point in time, we'll see if the district attorney and her lawyer are able to hammer out a deal, if they're able to come to some type of conclusion to this case, if they're able to, if the district attorney offers a deal. Now, we know the district attorney did not offer Jake a deal at all, nor Rebecca a deal the first felony conference. In fact, we're going on, I think, our fourth, because the first felony conference got pushed. The second felony conference, which we just had last week, is when Jake admitted guilt. Again, the district attorney did not offer him a deal. This was just Jake just fucking pulling a rabbit out the hat and throwing himself at the mercy of the court. And then we had a felony conference yesterday for Rebecca Haros, right? Solo. Jake was nowhere to be found because, again, Jake is signed and sealed. Now he's only going to go through the penalty phase. So it's kind of a separation of court now. Rebecca will not be going to court on November 3rd like we all thought she was. Okay, she will not be starting her pretrial because she wants another felony conference hearing, and that's the reason why they pushed it to the 21st, which will be the actual fourth one that Rebecca attends. Okay, and what's going to happen there? I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen. A whole lot of nothing. I don't see the district attorney offering Willie Lump Butt a deal. I think Rebecca, honestly, she's such a diabolical person, and she believes that she's innocent, even though she knows she's guilty in her heart. She believes because she was being abused, because she was going with the flow with whatever Jake wanted, and because of his, that he's pleaded guilty, and because of his past criminal record of abuse already, that it makes him look mighty guilty. Okay? But at the same time, just because someone has done crime in the past, similar crime, okay, to children or abuse of women and anything like that, doesn't mean you're totally innocent. Because in the state of California, if you pull up to a gas station giving a homeboy a ride and he decides to go up in that store, rob someone and shoots him in the commission of the crime and kills him, and you guys leave that scene, guess what? You're just as guilty of that murder for aiding and abetting as he is. In fact, they might not even get you for aiding and abetting. They can get you for the cold-hearted murder, saying that you guys planned it, you knew what time it was. Even though you didn't, that's just the way the fucking cookie crumbles. And believe me, there's no milk to drink when it's dry in your throat. That's just how it is. Now, I wanted to say something to the people out there. I wanted to give you guys my honest opinion, right? I really wanted to do an apology right now. So I kind of wanted to issue an apology, man. And I think my words were misconstrued. Look, I respect every single person who has dedicated themselves to going out there looking for baby Emmanuel. And I know sometimes we may get excited because we think we found a clue or something. And I express to people, don't touch anything, not because I don't want you in the mix or getting the glory or getting the love for what you've done. Opposite of that, because I don't want the evidence to be tainted whatsoever. So that way that fat fucking mongrel, Rebecca or even Jake, has any excuses or any action at an appeal. If things are tainted, then they can't be used in a court of law, so you can kind of ruin evidence. So I've always expressed that, like, just knowing how the legal jargon is and how they get down. Believe me, anything that is tainted, that defense lawyer will jump all over that and be like, hey, how do we know this wasn't planted? How do we know this wasn't moved? How do we know? And in most cases, man, the judge, if something is contaminated or tainted, they can't allow that it to be used as evidence. I mean, it might be brought up, it could be, or it might not be. And we want everything that has to do with baby Emmanuel to be perfect, man, so that way he gets the justice he deserves. Now, again, another thing that I said was about a proper memorial. I know that there's been a memorial out there with several stuffed animals and pictures and articles of clothing and things that people have put out there out of the kindness of their own heart, and it's being maintained by a certain group. I respect it. I'm not trying to disrespect the memorial they got out there. All I'm saying is I think as a whole, as a society, as a community, as people, that got a lot of love for baby Emmanuel and want to see everything done properly. We're not shitting on the memorial. We're not saying you haven't done the best you could. And you haven't done more than a lot of other people, including myself, have done. But what I was saying was we want to give him a proper burial site. We want to bring Mijo home in some type of form or fashion so that way he's memorialized properly. You know, you see people get shot on a corner or people get in a car wreck, and you see these people that put little memorials, crosses, pictures, candles, things like that. But they also got a proper burial site. They also are in a cemetery. You know, they're buried properly. And that's all I was saying, man. Hey, respects to those that are out there fighting the good fight. Someone got real upset with me. They were like, hey, I didn't say it like this and I didn't say it like that. Look, however you said it, I respect it. Okay? I just, and I understand that you're going out there looking. I just don't want at any time, and I know you're wise enough and I'm not judging you based off of what you said, but I just don't want anyone to mess up, you know, because when I seen Ahmed posted his video, he said that the garbage bag that he was posting was moved, that he didn't move it, right? And then again, this person said, you didn't see the whole thing. The cop said it was garbage, but there was blood and there was bones and there was this and there was that. Believe me, if that was baby Emmanuel, and I respect it, but if that was baby Emmanuel, they would have already had a press conference. They would have announced that they found him. They would have took all kinds of credit. And that's a fact. You know that. And I know that. It's just the way it goes, right? There might have been another body in there. There might have been something in that garbage bag, right? But it definitely was not baby Emmanuel, not up to this point, because they would have already released that information to the public. And they would be utilizing that against Rebecca in this upcoming trial. She will be doing a felony conference on January 21st. And then from there, we'll find out if she doesn't get offered a deal and take a deal, then we'll figure out exactly when the next court date will be, right? This looks like it's going to be a longer process than we thought. No one expected Jake to jump the gun and do what he did. I'm glad he did, because we're getting a little bit of closure and we're going to get a look into what he has to say. Now, one thing that I got out of this, which I thought was great information, was that in the report from yesterday's court, the detectives, and it was put out there that this is still an ongoing investigation, which is cool. The reason it's cool is because they have not given up yet. It's still an open case, meaning that if there's any more information that comes forward that could help in justice for baby Emmanuel, specifically his body or his whereabouts, that would be a good thing, man. Anything we could do to put the nail in the coffins of these two monsters would be great. Now, there's people that are still saying Rebecca is not yet guilty until she has her due process. In the court of law, yeah. In the rule of the land, no. That bitch is as guilty as sin. She's guilty for promise, for being with that man who did that to that little girl, knowing what he did and still laying in bed with him and sitting there eating fucking caramel corn and watching Netflix, okay? Any woman or man that condones a child abuser and sits there and knows what they did and just relaxes with them and chills, you're just as dirty and as bad as they are. So she may or may not be innocent of baby Emmanuel, which I think is furthest from the truth. I believe she's guilty as hell. She looks guilty. And what type of woman is not shedding no tears for her son that's allegedly missing and now deceased? The father has already admitted, damn, I hate saying father, but it is what it is. Jake has already admitted that he killed baby Emmanuel. When asked by the judge whether he was guilty, he said, I admit it. I did it. So he's already admitted that, right? So she knows now that Ola did not steal her son, did not knock her out. No, that was Jake that knocked you out, put you on your fucking lumpy butt cheek, right? There was no Big Five Sporting Goods. There was no diaper. There was no you bent down to change. I wanted to change his diaper. No, you didn't do that, bitch. Stop. You didn't do any of that. What happened was your old man beat the holy hell out of you, probably because the baby was crying and he was frustrated. And he either shook him or you shook him to death. And that's God fucking honest truth. That's probably what happened. That's how I feel. And I feel that you guys fucking panicked and you guys did whatever you could do to get rid of baby Emmanuel, you despicable ass human beings. And then I truly, honestly believe that they conspired this story. It's premeditated. They went to go to Big Five to see if there was any cameras, to ask how stupid do you have to be with a fucked up ass Willie Lump butt, right? How dumb do you have to be to actually go into Big Five Sporting Goods? Do you guys got cameras here? Because someone stole our car. Yeah, you just pulled up in the car, the only car you own. Did someone? Oh yeah, you guys got cameras? No, we don't got cameras. Okay, cool. And then you guys go say your baby's missing a couple days later. Hey, stupid. Hey, that's fucking dumb and dumbest. That's dumber and dumbest. But however it went is how it went. And I'm glad that they were stupid enough and not smart enough to conceal or hide this crime. So now Jake is going to be sentenced and Rebecca's going to start trial. Now, again, before she starts trial, she will be going to another felony conference hearing on January 21st of 2026, which basically is next year, the first month of the year, right? A lot of people, I hear 2026, I'm like, damn, that long? But it's really just a couple months away. We are going into November. So she has a few months to prepare. That means that's given plenty of time for the district attorney to look at the case. And it's also given it plenty of time for anyone who's out there searching and putting in their hard work to find baby Emmanuel's remains, right? If they're still out there. I don't believe they are, but if they are, it's given them plenty of time to do that. Quietly as it's kept, this is a harsh reality case, a case into the mindset of two bad people who were reliant on the system, and the system failed everybody, but more so the children. Okay. We know that the system failed promise. That's a fact. And we know that the system continues to fail baby Emmanuel because it seems to me like the detectives didn't go as hard in the paint as they could have in the beginning. They basically believed that story up until the point where they figured, okay, we know everything now. We don't need to keep continuing to search. And I believe that, the baby was already dead. Baby Emmanuel was gone probably on August 5th, like they're saying, right? But still, you could have brought Mijo home. Now I don't think there's anything to bring home. But I'm not going to discourage the people that are still out there with boots on the ground looking, man. My total respects. If you thought I meant to belittle what you're doing, it's not that at all. I'm just saying, at the same time, man, when Ahmed Andatira has entered into the chat, when he said that, there was a bag, I was glad that he called the authorities and hey, anytime you're going to do it right. And he did it right, and it just happened to be, according to the officer, not exactly what everyone thought it was. It's not a big deal. You keep on pressing, you keep on pushing, hey, I would have did the same thing that he did. Facts, man. People are concerned. They're very concerned. Now, so I guess we're just going to have to wait. We're playing the waiting game. We know, like I said, next Monday, Jake will go to the mercy of the crime. This is what I'm truly hoping, when he's able to give his statement, because, when you're sentenced, you're able to give a statement, apologize for your crime, let people know how you feel. If he decides to say anything, I hope that he basically tells us what's up. But I don't think so. I don't think so because I don't think he's going to give up any locations or say what happened, because Rebecca still has an ongoing trial. And I truly, honestly believe that he could be utilized, man, as a witness for the prosecution. They may get at him and say, listen, you already pled guilty. If you have any love in that big old black heart of your big old fat congested fucking black heart you have right there, because he has a mean streak in him. If you have that, right, why don't you, if you have any type of love for your son or your kids, let us know what's going on. Let's utilize the information to convict Rebecca, because she's just as guilty. But I don't know if he's going to do that. So to be totally honest with you, it's going to definitely be some breaking news at that court just to see him get sentenced and what he gets. But I honestly believe he's going to get 25 to life. Now, as far as Rebecca goes, we're still a long ways away from a trial. We still got her felony conference on the 21st of January, right? And I don't believe she's going to get a deal. I believe this district attorney, man, is going to make an example. And I believe the district attorney, just like myself, believes that Rebecca may have been the one to have killed baby Emmanuel, and Jake was covering up for her. We'll find out, man. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I just wanted to put this video out there. That's what happened at court yesterday. It was a brief court appearance. Rebecca went. They continued it. And like I said, this is normal in court proceedings. They're going to continue it. The lawyers keep doing this. This is a tactic. It's a tactic, man. They figure the longer that it plays out, the more action that they have. At first, it's kind of concerning to me, though, and alarming, because if you remember at the first felony conference hearing, they were ready to go. They were ready to get it under wraps and get it underway. Subsequently, since Jake pled guilty on that second felony conference, now all of a sudden they want to slow down, like a Bobby Valentino song, right? They want to slow down. So what are they up to? What do they know that we don't know? I guess we're going to have to sit back, wait, and find out. Again, respects to everyone that's out there with boots on the ground looking for baby Emmanuel. We're trying to bring him home, man. Again, I respect the memorial and how you guys are maintaining it. And all I was saying was not to undermine or undercut anyone's ability to do what they're doing, because they're doing it well, right? And doing it well. But what I'm saying is we want Mijo home. I think we could all agree with that, right? Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people, man. Gracias. Bang, bang.